the broadcast. My name is Shelley Harrison, and you're watching Luminary Leaders Live. And today I have a special guest that I've met on LinkedIn, and I know we're streaming live on LinkedIn today. So I want to give a shout out to all of our followers for Luminary Leaders, and also for my guest today, David Babbush. And you'll meet him in just a moment. But I just want to let everybody know we appreciate you watching, and all of these broadcasts are really brought to you so that it could help you in your business, your personal life, your professional life. And today is no different. So you're going to learn about David Babbush and what his company is all about, and the things that he's done, and his background. So welcome again, and I want to welcome my guest, David Babbush. How are you, David?
I'm doing great. And Shelley, thank you so much for having me. I eagerly accepted your invitation without hesitation. And it's
Oh,
exactly what you said. It's personal, professional growth, enhanced value in people's lives. And
yeah.
thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, David, because I think it's important too that people know that, connections, genuine connections happen on LinkedIn, Facebook, and you just have to, really make those connections, whether you do a private message or you engage on posts to get to know people. Wouldn't you agree?
I completely agree. And unbeknownst to me until a few years ago, I didn't know I lived my life in that fashion and making genuine connections. I just thought I was building relationships. And as I've grown and matured as a person and a professional, it
Yeah.
became more clear to me what that was. So once again,
Um,
I agree with you 100%.
yeah.
This
And
is
when
easy. You agree with the host and it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want people to know that you are the COO and executive director for the Los Angeles chapter or community with M3 LinkedIn. And I think, or linked, excuse me, not LinkedIn. Oh, shame on me. Linked. M3 linked. It's very close to LinkedIn, though, right? So I'm sure that it's a good thing, right? Right, David?
It is, and you're not the first, and you definitely won't be the last. And
Sure.
it's really amazing to have a brand that once in a while, as we build our business, gets linked to such a high profile, well-known brand, such
Yeah.
as LinkedIn. And
Right.
it's an amazing facilitator of making connections for us. So uh,
Yeah.
shout out to LinkedIn.
Yeah, right? We'll have to do the hashtag in the show notes too. But, yeah, and I really want people to know we did connect on LinkedIn, and I was just really, it was such a genuine connection, and I looked a little bit deeper. I think I started by watching a video from M3 Linked, and I think that's where it kinda caught my attention, and I thought, "Gosh, I wanna dig a little bit deeper." So when we connected, and I just the way that you write, and how you connected with me, I really wanna have people know what you do, and what, M3 Linked is all about. So can you tell us kind of your role with M3 Linked?
Sure. And I'm not much of a title guy, so I very much appreciate the definition of a role and understanding responsibilities and
Yeah.
obligations. And you can call me whatever you want. And I
Just
know that
don't call
I
you late
will.
for dinner, right?
Yeah, I never have been. And so understanding that and fulfilling those commitments and building relationships is really where I hang my hat. The integrity of
Yeah.
follow through and communication. To answer your question,
Mhm.
my role as the COO and executive director, there's two buckets there. One is
Mhm.
running our business as franchisees of
Mhm.
M3 Linked, because we are M3 Linked Los Angeles, and M3 Linked is the franchisor or the corporation. And so I run our business day-to-day operations. Within that is another bucket, which is the executive director role, and that is fulfilling my duties in the same manner in which we met. I connect with people. I
Yeah.
like to share mutually what we can offer each other and see how we can help each other. And after I make those connections and communicate, I invite people to visit one of our virtual forums.
Yeah.
And please.
Oh, go ahead, because I think you're going to tell us about those virtual forums.
I am. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, thank you for pumping my brakes, though. And so, uh, what happens in these virtual forums is it's a collection of 25 to 35 people on any given week. We have
Mhm.
members and we have guests, and the room is different every single week because our members have commitments, obligations, family, school, professional
Life.
commitments. Life
Yeah.
is happening around them. And so they're always on a rotation of attending. Many of them come every week and they probably achieve maximum value. The
Mm.
others that come, less frequently, we still communicate with them on a weekly basis, keep them up to date. And then we have guests. And the guests are always rotating because we want to share this forum experience with people to see if
Yeah.
it's something that may be of interest to them. We're a community of CEOs, entrepreneurs, business owners, inventors,
Oh.
investors, and frankly, ultimately, the common denominator, I think, is high integrity and decision makers. So when
Mm.
you connect with
Yeah.
people, you can instantly, lack of a better term, get return on that investment. That investment is your time in having that
Mm.
experience with us to connect 2 to 3 minutes with somebody, exchange contact information and set something up, and then move
Mhm.
around the room and meet others and do the same. And our
Yeah.
forum is high energy. We have a good time, yet
Mhm.
professional. And we're there to bring people of the same mindset together. We
Yeah.
want to provide mutual value. We're givers, and you get back when you give, and that's the mutual value.
Yeah, and the one thing that you mentioned that I mean, I stand by this is integrity, where it's really important when you have those, high level individuals that are coming together, integrity and just, supporting one another and kind of the collaboration that happens, whether it's during the virtual meetings or if it's outside of those virtual meetings. And even after, they leave that meeting, I'm sure would want to make sure that those connections are happening genuinely and they're in good, where the members are doing the right thing and no issues with connections that are being made outside of the virtual meetings.
Yes, you're right. And
Hmm.
one of the things I do in connecting people as I become the conduit is I ask permission from each person. Is it okay if I connect you with this
Yeah.
person? Number one, I like mutual agreement, if you will, which I guess is redundant. But in any case, I want the parties to have that initial buy in. So when they do
Yeah.
connect, that's not a hurdle. I've helped
Hmm.
remove wondering if this is a valid, credible connection. And people
Yeah.
know that I built relationships with that we filtered that out. So
Hmm.
the integrity is so critical. It's almost my first line of defense.
Yeah.
We all know
Yeah.
when we meet somebody in maybe 30 to 60 seconds, kind of the vibe. Sometimes it takes a little longer. We don't want to judge a book or do any of those
Yeah.
cliches, but your gut 90% of the time is pretty accurate. So
Mhm.
I understand where it's headed. Sure, we have some hurdles sometimes, but we communicate as professional adults and move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I really love about your group because or your community, I should say, because it is, where people are coming in there from all different types of industries and like you said, investors, inventors and CEOs of companies and they don't have a lot of time, when you look at, the things that they're doing. So for them to invest that time, that means that they are really invested in making sure that, that it's something that's going to benefit either themselves or their business. And building relationships, let's talk about that a little bit, David, because I know, I've sensed that you're a very genuine person and you're a businessman, but really it's about building relationships first, trusting relationships. So tell me, how do you see that? How do you build relationships with business owners that you meet?
Yeah, great question. And
Thank you.
again, I hadn't understood the depth in which I did it until I started this business in M3 because it was just a different space and place, being in the
Yeah.
restaurant and hospitality industry, as I had over 25 years of experience there. And you're
That's
constantly
right. Yeah.
interacting with vendors and contractors and landlords and, obviously our most critical asset, people. So our staff.
Mm.
And it starts from that initial communication in my mind and being open. I
Mhm.
generally start my meetings with, lack of a better term, a stranger. And it,
Yeah.
it starts with, tell me a few minutes about yourself. I'll do the same. We'll then understand who we are. And we can kind of get going to see what it is you may need, what it is I'm looking for. And again, that mutual, sharing, that connection of finding the mutual value. And
Yeah.
when you start sharing stories, I always start that I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. And
Mhm.
so, although I'm associated with Los Angeles, unbeknownst to me for all those years, I think people let their guard down a touch and say, oh, just another person from the middle of the country type of thing. Or
Mm.
just that cue in the first few sentences. And it may not be Cleveland every time, but it may be, listen, I do best with just straight up communication. Let's not waste each other's time. And I respect
Yeah.
that. So I think
Mhm.
it's just how you open dialogue, learn a little bit about people, not just, I want to do marketing for your company, but learn some
Right.
depth about the person. And then there is that potential openness to really then get into a better, deeper dialogue that hopefully leads to transacting in business or personal growth or whatever it is one's after.
Yeah. No, I'm on the same page with you on that, last comment that you mentioned. And, I think, just with M3 linked, where would you say or what kind of businesses or candidates that are, maybe in need of a group like yours, what does that look like? What kind of industries or, the types of CEOs that are ideal for your community?
Yeah, one of the biggest, best surprises that has come out of starting this business has been the different type of people. And I mean,
Mhm.
from color of skin, religion, geographic location,
Yeah.
ages. I mean, we have 25-year-old entrepreneur and a 75-year-old
Oh my
entrepreneur.
gosh.
And
Yeah.
so it there is no profile other than, in my mind, the decision makers. But again, before that, the integrity, the open mindedness, being a giver. Uh, we
Yeah.
we have people from all types of industry: CPA,
Mhm.
business coach, business psychologist, entrepreneurs, business
Mm.
owners. We have a CEO of a vertically integrated cannabis fund. We have a
Oh,
gentleman
yeah.
who has invented a seat cushion that
Oh.
helps people's health and wellness. We
Oh.
have a woman who created a soap line. She's a 25-year-old woman who
Mm.
is spectacular. She actually got to our community because somebody in another community in Dallas, Texas, met her
Okay.
on LinkedIn, told her about
Oh.
it. This is a community member in Dallas, told
Yeah.
this woman about it, Tazare. Tazare then was connected with me because she lives in California. He
Mhm.
paid for her first month of membership, not even knowing her, because
Oh.
he wanted to pay it forward. She's been a
Wow.
member of our community coming up on 6 months now. And
Wow.
in the community, she has found a business coach and a CPA. She's building this
Yeah.
terrific C suite or E suite or CE suite, all these suites. I don't know what to do of an
Yeah, and that's the
executive team.
beauty. Yeah, that's a beauty of a community like what you're building and continuing to build, and I would you like to give her a shout out, her business name?
I would love to. That's amazing.
Okay, so let's
Souvenirs, souvenirs. It's a lot of
Souvenirs.
souvenirs. I think it plays on soap and entrepreneurs and,
Yeah.
being pioneers. It's all
Oh,
natural. And what's amazing is she is wanting to outsource the production to people all over the country. She'll send a
oh,
kit, they make the soap, and then the soap goes from them. So these people can also learn to become entrepreneurs. It isn't just here's an idea, manufacture, get it out, make all this money. There's
yeah.
depth to what she is doing.
Oh,
Tazare Callahan, CEO, entrepreneur, and founder of Soapineers, one of the best
souvenirs.
stories of all time.
Oh, well, we're definitely going to have to add her. If she has a website, we'll have to add that into the show notes too, because I'm sure that people, soap is something we need every day, right?
And we're probably all staying at home showering more than we ever have.
Right? That's so true. Yeah. And still kind of in our pajamas sometimes, right? No, not
I'm not.
us.
I am dressed properly.
Me too. I always am. Yeah, but no, that's a fun story, and I'm sure that she's very just entrenched, and it sounds like she's been able to work with some of the other members that where she has a need for outsourcing some of the things within her company, and that's that's important because you want trusted people for those services.
Yeah, and if I
Yeah,
may, just stepping back a moment, that's
yeah.
also the power of M3 Linked. Somebody in Dallas, Texas paid it forward, and we're
Mm,
now international. Canada, Toronto, Canada now has a community, and they opened last week, and amazing people
mm,
running that market. And
gosh,
there's discussions going on all over the place all the time, different cities, different countries. But the
yeah,
real power is how that energy, enthusiasm, integrity transferred, and nobody was coached in it.
mm,
So when you find the right people with the right alignment, moral compass, integrity,
yeah.
values, it gets paid forward, and nobody needs to be coached. It's takes a village, I suppose.
Yeah, it sure does. And we're almost coming to the end of our broadcast, and I'd love for you to share, David, with our audience, what is one thing that you'd like to leave them with about M3 Linked?
First and foremost, thank you so much, Shelley, for having me. We
Oh,
just
my
met
pleasure.
recently, being
Yeah,
transparent.
we did.
And, I think, as I stated in that first 30 or 60 seconds, you know when you know, and you know when you don't know. And I knew, and I
Mhm.
think it was of mutual respect. And I'll use mutual that last time.
Yeah. Oh,
And I really appreciate you having me on, sharing what we're doing. And to answer your question, I think what I'd like people to know is we're on a collaboration revolution, and
mm.
we
Ooh,
have
that's the first time I've heard that. I love it.
thank you. I have to give
Collaboration
credit.
revolution.
I got to give credit to the CEO of M3 Linked,
Ah.
Stephen Nellick, unless he took it from somebody and didn't pay it forward.
Oh,
With that
well, let's just
said,
think he did it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
we really are on the cusp of a collaboration revolution. It's
Yes.
happening everywhere, and our momentum is real. And I think
Mhm.
stories like I shared about Tazare and the gentleman from Dallas, and just giving, and the
Paying
getting
it forward.
follows, paying
Yeah.
it forward, being ahead of the curve, even,
Mhm.
and being with other people that also genuinely care about you as well.
Yeah.
And it's really happening, and it feels great. And I have no trouble waking up and representing M3 Linked each morning, whether it's in Los Angeles, Toronto, Philly, Tampa, Detroit, Dallas. I could go on. You get the
Yeah.
idea, and you could see the locations at our site. I think that you
And I
said you'd be
yeah.
posting the website in the show
Yes.
notes. And
And
then
yep,
also,
we
if
sure
you are
will.
interested in connecting with me, you will post my contact information. By all means, please feel free to reach out directly to me. And also, if you're interested in checking out one of our forums, which I love to share with people, it makes my day and my week. I build towards that every week and love
Yeah.
sharing the enthusiasm, the energy. It's real. And there's a direct link to register to check out one of our forums. It's virtual, and we'd love to share with you.
Oh, that's so wonderful, David. And I actually have the website streaming at the bottom, but we'll definitely put in the show notes. You've been a great guest today, and and I'm so glad that we are collaborating. We're connected. We'll just continue the path, and I am so excited for you and the work that you do. Thank you for being a guest today, David. I appreciate you being here, and we want to thank our audience for tuning in. You might be watching the replay, but we want to make sure that you meet David and check out M3 Linked and look for the show notes. But again, thanks for being here, and we'll see you later.
I'm humbled to be with you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, David.
Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Be safe.
Yes, you too.